Master horse racing with daily racing forms Formulator, now free for DRF Bets members. Sign up to get the best bonus in racing with a $250 deposit match, plus a $10 free bet and free Formulator past performances. Go to drf.com/bet to play like a pro today.
Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the DRF race of the day for Sunday, May the 14th. Race number 8 at Belmont Park. It's the Grade 3 Vagrancy. Fillies and Mares going 6.5 furlongs. Let's take a look at this field. Please scan or click the QR code for race of the day access on mobile with free Formulator pass performances. $175,000 the purse for the Vagrancy. Carmel Swirl, the number 3, 2-1 on the morning line for trainer Belmont. This horse didn't fire her best shot last time out at Tampa Bay, but she was coming off of a pretty lengthy layoff.
Yeah, I guess that last race would be the concern with Carmel Swirl. It was off of a layoff there, Dan. She did not really run particularly well at a very short price. That being said, I get why she's the 2-1 morning line favorite. Her good race makes her really, really tough to beat in here.
Well, let's see where our friends at Timeform US have Caramel Swirl placed on the Timeform US pace projector. This is the projection after the first quarter mile, and they have her sitting sort of in mid-pack with Rosa Veloce, the number 2, expected to make the lead in a situation that could favor frontrunners. Now, when Rosa Veloce does get to the front, she is dangerous, as we saw in the correction 2 starts back. She didn't break very well last time out, and that might have taken her completely out of her game.
Had a big excuse in her most recent start. She could easily make the lead here. I didn't necessarily think she'd be loose, even if she does break better in here. She'll go forward. Timeform US thinks the 5 and the 6 will be up close. I agree with that. They both have fine tactical speed. The favorite, Caramel Swirl, not a slow horse by any means. So if she gets out of the gate here and is a little sharper this time, I don't expect her to be outrun.
The number 1, Funny How, is a little underrated. She's a New York bred that's never been off the board from 8 lifetime starts for trainer Ray Handel, a stakes winner 2 starts back against New York breds, and she ran a fine second in this race, the Grade 3 Distaff most recently, going 7/8 at Aqueduct. You see her in behind the leaders right now. She's going to angle out for clearance, and she'll get up for second. Another solid performance. It always helps for a little bit of pace for her.
Yeah, she ran fine in this race. Overall, the trip, there was nothing wrong with the trip. The winner just happened to run a really good race here, Dan. And Funny How can't really threaten her late, but she's clearly second best. This race, this Vagrancy, is a way tougher spot than that Distaff was last time. But this filly's a little underrated. She could run late.
Rosa Veloce was stakes placed as a 2-year-old when trained by Handel, was claimed by Rob Atras for $32,000, and Atras has really turned this horse's form around. 4 wins, including a win in the correction 2 starts back, and last time in the Distaff again. She's a front runner. She didn't break. She was forced to chase, and it worked against her. If she gets to the lead, she has a very good chance to turn the tables.
She'll run better if she gets out of the gate here. I think it's still, fair to question just how good she actually is. Obviously, Actress has done a good job with her. She did win a stakes race 2 starts back against a weak field on a wet track where nobody really ran behind her. She does have that one really fast race from last November, which, listen, hasn't exactly been that predictive going forward. But this mare's still in really good form. I can see her being tough in this race, Dan. I just feel like this spot is the toughest one she's been in, probably in her entire life. And I think she's going to have to run a career best effort here if she's going to beat this field.
The morning line favorite in this race, the number 3 Carmel Swirl, has a lot of ability. She won the graded Raven Run at Keeneland in 2021. It's just been a matter of Belmont getting her to the races. She had an abbreviated 2022 campaign, and she showed her ability, and she showed Mott's horsemanship in being able to run second in the Ballerina in only her second start of the year, behind eventual champion and Breeders' Cup filly and mare sprint winner Goodnight Olive. But then she went to the sidelines again. The Tampa Bay return wasn't good. I like that Mott's putting her right back here in a graded stakes race. He's keeping the faith, and she just seems very well entered.
That's how I look at it too, man. I mean, you have to concern yourself, I guess, a little bit with that race at Tampa because it was off a layoff. She didn't run well, and now she's been gone, again for another 3 months or so. So maybe there's some kind of, underlying issue here. But her good race just makes her really, really hard on this field. And I'm with you. I like that Mott comes right back, enters her in a graded race here. And if nothing else, this is the right spot for her, Dan. Her good race, if she runs it, I think she beats this field.
Nine-time winner Mozienko is taking a pretty big step up in class. She's a New York bred that just took a $25,000 starter allowance at Aqueduct, going a one-turn mile over a wet racetrack. She got right up close to a very moderate pace. They went the half in 49-1. She had just enough left to fend off the closers. Now she's going to be facing a much tougher spot from a class standpoint and likely from a pace standpoint as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I love this mare. She's really consistent. She's not really a graded stakes kind of horse, but I don't have any problem with Dennis Laumann trying to run her back in a race like this, Dan. They don't really have anywhere else to run her. She had a great campaign last year. It's just going to be hard for her to beat this field.
Beguine was a graded stakes placed filly back in 2022, briefly on the Kentucky Oaks Trail. They ran her in the Black Eyed Susan. It didn't work. I like that they gave her plenty of time after that race. She is best sprinting. We saw that 2 starts back when she ran against Rossavalace, ran a triple-digit Beyer speed figure, and then she bounced back in this race, the Garland of Roses, to split 2 next-out winners going 3/4 of a mile. And she had the big lead in the stretch. Would you consider this a bad loss?
I didn't love this loss. She got a really good trip in this race, I thought. Takes over. Looks like she's going to be tough from here, Dan. I mean, it's at least worth pointing out that the horse that does run her down here, Betsy Blue, was just in great form at this time. It just comes steamrolling over the top of her in the stretch. I thought it was a pretty bad loss. I do prefer her as a sprinter, though, and maybe she falls into a trip here.
The key to this race in many ways is the number 6, Dr. B, who was always a very solid Mid-Atlantic-based sprinter for trainer Butch Reed. And she just freaked out in her final start of 2022, the Grade 3 Go for Juan. Now, this race was run on Cigar Mile Day over a sealed, sloppy track. This race came back faster than the Cigar. She earned a 103 Beyer speed figure. Was it simply the wet track, Mike? Was it a situation where she got to the lead, was being chased by an 80-1 shot, and that's a pretty good situation when no one's running from the back of the pack? Or is she just happening to get good as she matures?
I mean, I guess it could be all of those things. I mean, it's not like her form leading into that Go for Juan wasn't good, Dan. I mean, she didn't win either of her prior 2 starts, but I thought she ran well both times. She obviously liked the wet track. To me, more than anything else, I just thought it was a pretty soft trip in that Go for One. As you've already mentioned, she had no trouble making the lead, a big long shot after her. She was just basically loose in there and sprinted through the stretch. Good performance for sure. I've always liked this mare. Maybe she continues now and starts running, one fast race after another going forward. But I don't know if I'd want to take too short a price on her. I think Carmel Swirl's a better horse than she is.
We'll see how effective she is turning back to 6.5 as well. That last race was her first race ever going a mile. It was a 1-turn route. Up next is Easy to Bless, the number 7. This is a mare that wouldn't mind a little bit of pace help. She was wired last time out in the Prima Nera by one of the Mid-Atlantic-based, one of the best Mid-Atlantic-based filly and mare sprinters in Princess Kokachin. No match for these horses in the distaff, 2 starts back, so she's got to do more.
Yeah, it's just hard to make a case for her. She's a really cool horse and she likes to win races, but she just happens not to be a stakes horse, Dan. They ran her in 2 graded stakes last year. She finished last in both of those. They've run her in 2 stakes races recently. She finished last in both of those. She's just in over her head in races like this.
The 8 Midnight Stroll is a stakes winner sprinting. She's a graded stakes winner going 2 turns. She won the Delaware Oaks. Since that Delaware Oaks win, though, she hasn't really gotten back to her best form. She was in the Grade 3 Royal Delta last time out. It was a race that didn't have a lot of pace. I don't want to hold that start against her. In the Raven Run 2 starts back, she caught a really good sprinter in Wicked Halo. So I think there's an argument to be made that her recent form is somewhat dirtied up. Slow-paced Gulfstream race, in against a real good one at Keeneland 2 starts back, 2-turn sprint 3 back against Society, who turned into a Grade 1 winner?
Yeah, I kind of look at her that way, Dan. I don't love her first start of the year there in the Royal Delta. She didn't run that well in that race, but I didn't want to hold it against her. I thought her Raven Run was a little bit underrated back around 1 turn there. I mean, she was wide all the way around the track, just chasing, working really hard, didn't quit at all through the stretch, and just got nailed for second by a deep closer. I thought that was an underrated performance. Listen, she's won 3 times, all 3 times when she had Lasix on, and she hasn't won a race without Lasix, which she doesn't get to run with here. That concerns me a little. I like this spot for her, though.
Before we get to our top selections, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel. Preakness Week is next week, and we'll have tons of coverage on DRF's YouTube channel. Top pick time for our Sunday race of the day, the Vagrancy. Mike's going with Carmel Swirl. She's the class of the race. She just has to rebound from that disappointing effort last time out in Tampa. In Mott, you trust?
I do. I just think she's overall, I just think she's a good horse. I think this is a great spot for her, Dad. I'm hoping she shows up with one of her good races.
I think Dr. B was just getting good towards the end of last year for a very, very good trainer in Butch Reed. And I like her tactical speed. I don't think she has to be too far off the leaders. Might actually get the jump on Carmel Swirl turning into the stretch. 3861 for Mike, 6351 for me. It's the Sunday race of the day. It's the Vagrancy at Belmont. Good luck.